Should we start with Michael Sean?
Yeah, he got a full mouth right
All
now.
right, we'll go to John Boyle.
Yeah, Russ, just to see DK and Tyler get some records today, receptions, receiving yards, both just wasn't me that both those guys come through like.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think that they've both had great seasons. They've been unbelievable for us. Tyler, obviously, getting 100 catches was really special today. That obviously the 100th one being the touchdown. That's really cool to help us win the game there. He was great all day. DK has had an unbelievable year. He's just continued to build, continue to grow. And so the whole receiving crew has been special. And it starts definitely with those two guys and how they've gone about their business every day.
AJ McCord.
Russ, I'm hoping you can confirm a social media rumor for us. David Moore, the pass there at the end. Why did you guys call that play?
Yeah, we called that play because David had $100,000 if he gets that catch. So, it's a blessing to be able to help his family and his daughter and all that stuff. So that's it's part of the game. We wanted to get him that catch, and so we were able to dial that up for him that last play.
Thanks.
Joe Fan.
Hey, Russ, 2 weeks in a row now, you guys have kind of struggled out of the gates through the first half. This game, it was the first 3 quarters. I'm curious what you make of that, and if that's a bit at all concerning to you.
Yeah, I think the first quarter we were moving the ball well. We just didn't get a chance to score in the end zone down there. They did some good stuff down there at the end, but really the second and third quarter where we kind of got stagnant a little bit. They did some good stuff. They stopped us on third down. They had the ball for a while too, a little bit, on a couple of those drives, and we were 3 and out on a few of them. So, I think that when you're playing division team, great system and scheme and everything else, you got to be able to find ways to convert. In the fourth quarter, we said, hey, we got to go for it. We got to go win the game. We got to find a way. And so, they've been playing really good football the past several weeks. As we've seen, and for us, we had to come up and step up in the fourth quarter and find a way to win the game. And so that's the great thing. And part of it is what I think that's. I've told you guys this many times, but I think to be able to win in all different fashions, I think is really key. Has always been the key. I think that obviously we want to start great, and we know how we can do that too as well. But you also got to be able to win the games close, because that's what playoff football is like. When all the nerves and the feeling and the tension and, we're not playing great this play, or that they stopped us on that last possession. We can use that to catapult us for the playoffs and use those moments and tap back into that play and everything else. And the playoffs aren't always high scoring. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. It's go win the game. That's what really matters. In the fourth quarter, when the game was on the line, we had to go win the game, and we did.
All right, Mike, you ready?
Yes, I am. Russ, if there's anything in the offense that you'd just like to see be more sharp in the playoffs, what would it be? That one thing?
I think we got to get to those more explosive plays, here and there. I think that anytime you get those explosive plays, that definitely helps out. So, I think we got to get to some of those calls and get to some of those moments and stuff like that. And if we can, but at the same time, I think all that matters in the playoffs is, do you win the game or not, and whatever it is, that's really what we care about in this locker room, is winning the game. And I think we were able to get those explosive plays and some of those explosive runs in the fourth quarter when the game was on the line, and we were able to convert and make some big-time catches. Tyler made some big-time catches, scrambled a few times, and this and that. And Tyler came across the field in the other one, and then we fit that one, the first touchdown to Tyler in that tight window. He just kind of did a good job of scrambling, kind of got away from the guy and just stayed alive. And so those are going to happen, and I think that that would be continually great to see throughout the playoffs.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Bell.
Hi, Russ. How much more complete does this team now feel with the defense playing the way it is, the special teams the way it's been all year? But compare how you feel about this team now to, say, October, when you guys were beating teams 38-31 and things like that.
Well, I think this season just of life has been a journey. It's been crazy in so many different ways, and we cannot take it for granted having 12 wins, and finding ways to win. I go back to the first 6-7 games or whatever it was, 5-6 games or whatever it was, and just how we had to win those games at the end of the game, this high scoring, back and forth, and doing all the things that we needed to do, and throwing the ball deep and mixing it up and just being explosive in our passing game, all the things we had to do. And And to be honest with you, had to win the games in the last second of the game. You think about the Minnesota game. You think about how our defense stopped them against the Patriots there down at the end, and those moments. And our defense has just continued to grow and continue to build, and they've been one of the best defenses in the National Football League. So that's the exciting part. Then on offense, too, as well, for us, is that we know what we're capable of and we know what we can do, especially when everybody's healthy and everything else. And, they played a really good game today. Yeah, they did a really good job, and they played hard and everything else. And, we found a way. Unfortunately, we weren't able to convert in some of those third downs. We were a yard short here, or 6 inches short there, or whatever it may be on a couple of those third down conversions early on. But, it's a process, and I think that I've told you guys this earlier in the year. But the reality is, every game has its own history, and that the reality is that you have to find ways to win it. When the game's on the line, can you make the shot? Can you make the throw? Can you make the catch? Can you make the play? Can you make the run? Can you make the tackle? And today we were able to do that again.
Art?
Following up on the pass game, Russ, it looked like the downfield accuracy was off a little bit in the first 3 quarters. Was that scheme or something else?
I wouldn't say it was off. I think I had to throw a couple balls away. They were right there, so unfortunately we weren't able to make those. So, I think that I don't think we have to worry about the deep ball accuracy. I think we know how to do that pretty well. I think the biggest thing is sometimes you got to throw it away and just live for another day. And I think that was most of them on those plays.
Bob?
Yeah, Russell, could you just take us through the last touchdown to Tyler, 4th down and all that, kind of what you guys were trying to do and how you ended up going to Tyler there?
Yeah, everybody was kind of just crossing and trying to make it really difficult. Chris Carson did a great job stepping up and blocking Fred, and he's been a great blitzer all year and everything else. Chris Carson stoned him in the backfield. That was key. I just kept retreating, and then next thing you know, Tyler scooted across the field and made another great catch. Just try to put it in a spot where only he could get it and get his feet in and everything else, and he was able to do it. So that was a great play call and a great play by Tyler.
Curtis?
Yeah, Russell, you mentioned how big explosive plays would be for you guys, getting some more here moving forward. How do you balance that with, opponents here seemingly wanting to try to take that away from you the last half of the season or so? And when do you bide your time and take those shots knowing they're trying to take that away from you, and that balancing act?
I think the biggest balancing act is more so of, taking our shots but also running it and mixing it in and doing all that stuff, right? I mean, we got great players across the field, and so we want to be able to get the ball to Chris Carson, and be able to let him run it too and be physical, in our backs and what they can do. And then also, you also want to be able to, you also want to be able to get the ball to our receivers and all the things they can do. And they had some good pass rush. They did some good stuff today. They mixed up some good things. I think our line kept battling, and in the fourth quarter, they did a great job of slowing those guys down up front, and just we were able to capitalize when we needed to. And so, I think the biggest thing is just staying focused on the process this week. We got a great process coming up, and we got a great challenge ahead of us to go back home. The great thing is we get to go back home, and we got a team that we got to play in the Rams. That's going to be a really good football team, and they're going to be ready to play again, and we know that, so we got to get ready to roll.
All right, John Boyle, and then we'll wrap up with Brady Henderson.
Yeah, Russ, you moved ahead of Dan Marino for most touchdowns in your first 9 years. Only Peyton Manning had more. Just that, getting to 40 touchdowns, what do those marks mean to you to be kind of up there with some of those great?
Yeah, I think obviously the most important stat is the winning, and all the wins we've been able to do to get to 12 wins again, and hopefully go into this playoffs and see if we can win 4 games again, one at a time. I think that's the most significant thing. I do think that it's been a blessing, obviously, to have receivers that break records like in Tyler and DK and those guys, but I think also too as a quarterback, the most important stat is the win column, and also can you score touchdowns? Can you find ways of getting the ball into the end zone? And I think over the past 9 years, definitely been fortunate to be able to do that, and to be mentioned in the same category as obviously with Peyton. And Peyton's a guy I've always looked up to and somebody I've been close to in the past several years, and obviously Dan Marino, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I think it's definitely a blessing. So I think those stats matter. Touchdowns do matter. It's definitely one of those things that is significant, and we've been able to get a lot of them. So you can't take those touchdowns for granted.
Hey, Russ, when did you become aware that David had the incentive on the line, and how did that conversation go as you guys went with that play?
Let's see here. I knew earlier in the week a little bit, to be honest with you, and then I kept it low key. Just kind of knew, kind of in the back of my head, and then the game was going on, and Tyler was making all the catches, and DK was making a few here and there, and just guys. And then it was the last drive. I tried to get one to them earlier, but they had kind of covered it, and so it was shoot, okay. And then it was the last drive. We got the ball back, and we were in the huddle. And I said, hold on, let's get this called here, and so we were able to do that. Austin and I were talking about on the sideline too, as well, and so we were able to get that in, and he got that catch. So it's pretty cool, it's a blessing, and he's worked so hard this year, so he definitely earned it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Russell.
Hey, Russ, excuse me, just to be clear, so that you changed the call in the huddle?
Yeah, we talked about it, and we were going to kneel it, and then we ended up changing it. Austin on the sideline and I, we were talking, and we had talked on the sideline earlier about trying to find a way if we can get it done. So, Austin actually had said, hey, let's get it done. Let's do it right here. So we were kind of looking at each other. Let's get it done here. So then we ended up calling it, and I said, hey, Dave, you're gonna get the ball right here. Here we go. Kind of winked at him, and so that was pretty cool.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Yep, go Hawks.